Right, welcome back to the channel, guys. And this is a very quick review of a Porsche Macan, because it's quick because I have to take it back to the dealers right now. I took my Boxster, my 981, in for a pre-purchase inspection for the new owner, and they gave me this car. Now, unfortunately, initially they told me, so it's Tuesday today, and they told me on the Monday, oh yeah, it's probably going to take us till Wednesday. So I thought, great, I've got 3 days to film this car. And then yesterday, the same day I took it in, they phoned me in the evening and said, your car's ready. So I've kind of like gone AWOL with this car because I wanted to film this review, but I thought I was going to have more time. Anyway, having said all of that, let's start talking about this car. You don't really care about what it sounds like, this car. I mean, I don't think so. I think the majority of people who buy a Macan, they're buying it for, you know, obviously it's a Porsche, but they're using it as a practical car, and they're putting the kids in the back, whatever. And the sound, unlike the Boxster, is not so relevant. The car, I mean, obviously it doesn't have the 6-cylinder sound, but it doesn't really have any particular sound. It's very muted, the engine, and that's probably because it's brand new and it's got those OPF filters on it. And you might think that in this car, it doesn't have the punch to move this vehicle, but it's not true. It's not true. This car shifts, and I was very pleasantly surprised by the performance of this car. Another great thing about this car, I mean, it's a Porsche, you know, so it's got all of those things that you come to expect. It's got the lovely interior. This is not meant in any way to disparage my Kia Sportage, but because I've been driving that, I've kind of got used to the interior of that. So to climb back into this, or to climb into this, should I say, and have leather everywhere and have all of these nice features and the expensive feel of it, because it's about that tactile feel as well, and to have all of that all of a sudden is fantastic. So I feel like I'm in a Porsche, and it drives like a Porsche. That's the thing, that's the key about any car, isn't it? How it drives. And this drives so well. It drives like a sports car. I wouldn't go as far as saying it drives like a 911, which I've often heard it thrown around, but I would say that when you drive this car, the only thing that reminds you that you're in a big SUV is obviously the view out the window is quite high up, and then when you brake. So when you stop, you realize how heavy this vehicle is. But generally, when you're driving, it does drive very well. The car looks great, I think. From the back, I wasn't sure about this long strip along the back. I'm still not sure. I think it might look better if it was in red and not white. Or, you know, in that transparent sort of look. Probably looks better at night. The rear, where the exhaust are, got 2 twin tailpipes, which is a bit much for a 2-litre engine, isn't it? But it looks the part, you know, it is a Porsche after all. It even has a diffuser on the back. Not sure how practical that diffuser is. I'm not sure about the wheels on this car as well, but the specification is they probably come as standard. Let's talk about this engine. I mean, I'm on the motorway right now, so, you know, it's not ideal, but the engine, I thought, might struggle to move this big mass, but it doesn't. And you've got sport mode here, and it even has the suspension on it, but I'm doing 65 miles an hour. Yeah, plenty of power. I actually considered buying a Macan. I actually considered, believe it or not, cancelling my spyder order. This is way back before I knew I was going to get the spyder. And I considered actually cancelling it and buying a Macan instead, because I've got the 911, and I thought, well, I'll have the 911 and a Macan. And 2 things have come from this. But the first thing I thought of is, when I looked at the Macans that you could select, I saw there was one with a 2-litre engine, and I thought that must be that engine out of the Boxster. Not in any way would I have considered this engine. But now that I've driven it, and if I was to buy one in the future as a daily car, I would consider maybe buying this, maybe getting one with this engine in it. For sure, if I decided to get a used one, and there was one with a 2-litre engine, and it was a good price, absolutely I would consider buying that car, depending on the specification, of course. I just think it's such a capable car with this engine, and the noise issue is not here. So if you were thinking about buying a Macan, and you didn't, and you just dismissed this version because it's got that engine in it, then don't drive one, because I think you'll be surprised, like I am pleasantly. Okay, so inside, what's it like inside? Like I said, it's got all the stuff you'd expect. It's got cruise control. It's got the new screen in this car. It's a massive landscape screen. It's very responsive when you're moving it in and out with your fingers. Previous generation was not so good at that. It was okay, but it wasn't so great. It wasn't like your iPhone smooth. This is not quite iPhone smooth, but it's getting there. It's very, very nice to use. I haven't read any booklets. I haven't really done much with it, but I've managed to work out how to put the address in. It's got the speed limit camera, so it tells me the speed limit on each road. It's got everything. This one's got sport. It hasn't got sport. Oh yeah, it's got sport chrono. It doesn't have sport plus. It has the center clock. It has the sport button. It has the PASM suspension, etc. It has the heated seats, which I haven't tried. But it has everything I think you need in a car like this. First time I've ever used one, believe it or not. It's got the tailgate that opens from the key, and then you close it from a button. You don't have to manually open or close. Plenty of space in the boot, as you'd expect from an SUV. I think it's got almost as much room as my Kia, but I think the shape of the back of the car is a little bit more sloped, and therefore I think you probably get a little bit more in the Kia. But all things considered, certainly for me, it's enough space. I really wish I'd had another day with this car, because I really wanted to take it on some twisties and really put it through its paces. But on the way back yesterday from Porsche Stockport, I did drive on some decent roads, and it was really great fun. I really enjoyed it. Regular viewers of this channel will know that I broke down in France recently. So I ran out of fuel on the French motorway, and I complained that the Kia Sportage doesn't really have any sort of warning that tells you you're running out of fuel. Just before I started making this video, I actually got a low fuel warning. So check out, this is what I recorded. I'm going to show you what happens in a Porsche, in a modern Porsche, when you're low on fuel. Check it out. Alright, so audible tone plus a message on the screen that you cannot miss. Now, I understand I'm comparing a Porsche to a Kia, but what I'm saying is, in a modern car that's got... The thing about the Kia is it surprised me on so many fronts that it had things I didn't expect, and yet some of the things that I would have expected it didn't have, like the ability to change the headlights over when you go to Europe, the ability to change the kilometers an hour, and even though it has a digital screen in the center of the dash, there's no fuel warning in that screen. All right, so I'm back. Well, I have to say, outstanding. I'm very impressed. I'm actually very excited, because now the prospect of buying the base model Macan is something that I would consider now, which I never thought I would before, because I always thought of it as being not enough car, and it's plenty of car. It's an excellent car. Obviously, I haven't driven it that much. I haven't lived with it very long. Maybe I can arrange, because I'm buying a new car from here, maybe I can arrange to get one for a little bit longer. But for now, I'm going to collect my car, and I'm going to give this back, unfortunately. And I'm going to see if maybe they don't want it back. Maybe they'll just say, "Oh no, just keep it. You've already got the keys and you've got your camera set up, so just keep it." All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. I'm sorry it was such a rushed review. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think below. If you've got one, let me know. If you're thinking about getting one, definitely get in touch. And yeah, and keep watching the channel for plenty more of these videos in the future. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.